First, I want to thank you all for sparing this afternoon and evening for the council-related discussion. I want to start off by telling you exactly what we intend to do for Labasa, and then we'll open up for some discussion. So for Labasa, I know drainage is one of the biggest problem that we see. Unfortunately, at the council, we could not locate the drainage plan. There is no drainage plan. We were planning to get a person who is from Labasa, but he had migrated to New Zealand, and he was willing to come down and do a scheme plan because he already had the knowledge. But unfortunately, due to COVID-19, we could not proceed with that. So the way forward for us is to engage a drainage engineer who needs to come down and do a scheme plan and actually tell us what exactly needs to be done for the clogs that are taking place in the town center. Now, I also want to emphasize that previously, we used to own the roads, and the road was under municipal councils. No more now. Under FRA Act, the roads come under Fiji Roads Authority. Now that causes a lot of restriction to the council when we want to do beautification project or we want to do the drain fixing. We can't just dig it up because then the question would be who's going to fix the road. So I have been liaising with FRA on this matter, and we're having further discussion with the chairman of FRA. Unless and until we sort out these issues, we won't be able to fix the drain. Because if we do dig it up, the last thing we want is a bill given to us saying that now you have to fix the road. So we need to work collectively, and most of the drains, etc., is now being looked after by Ministry of Waterways. From the council's perspective, we are willing to put the money on the table and say, yes, let's get the job done. But we have to liaise with all other agencies to move forward. So that's our first subject that I wanted to discuss with you. Second subject that I want to discuss with you in terms of improving Labasa town, we are now going to embark into this beautification project for whole of Labasa town, starting from the market area right to, I don't know which village was that, but towards that Nasekula village where the band is. We intend to put up planters with beautiful palm trees and flowers that can sustain this weather and requires less water and so forth. So during the weekend, that is yesterday, we managed to get the horticulturalist, a highly qualified person from Lautoka City Council. So he's going to assist Labasa Town Council to do all these planters and all the gardens. But again, to do that work, we have to work very closely with FRA. But I have already had a discussion with the chairman, and he has asked me to just put an email to him, and we'll be able to move with that project. Now, if you want to know how soon we're going to start, we are planning to start this project mid-December. So the gentleman will come over. And I'm also encouraging, if you know anyone who sells palm trees and flowers, let us know. We'll be able to buy it here in Labasa. If we can't, then we have to bring it all the way from Lautoka. Right? So that's our... We also want to put up not a welcome sign, but simply saying Bulasia Labasa as you enter Nasekula, through Nasekula village. Yeah. So it's like a surprise, when you turn, you don't see the town, but you see this sign, and then you enter Labasa town. So this project is in 3 parts. So the first part will be just the street, both sides of the street, where we want to put planters, sitting arrangement, and so forth. Then the second part will be from the Nasekula village till the entrance of Labasa town. This is the area where we see the footpath and it's a bit bushy, so we want to put some big trees in consultation with the horticulturalist so that we can put up lights at night and all that, just to beautify that drive into Labasa town. Okay, so that's our second project. And the third part of that beautification would be market and beyond. Right. So these are my three parts to that beautification project. Now, our third project is the botanical garden. For botanical garden, we had discussions with Peter Ranking. He was here yesterday. We're starting the work from actually this week. We already have the design, but he's going to tweak the design. This design was done way back. We are looking at the natural drainage and how we can use that as a water feature within the park. And we want to have, just like Albert Park, we want to have a walk, a sort of a footpath all around the park. So you can park your vehicle and you can just walk with good lighting and everything else. Small kiosk where people can sit around and have get-togethers or enjoy the ambience of the park. We will be also putting up some nice trees, really good trees, shady trees. We do not intend to remove any. Not the big trees, but some odd trees we have seen, like coconut trees growing in a very orderly way. So we might have to remove some of those. But for botanical garden, that would be our main focus. But then there is a footbridge that should connect botanical garden, to where our current market is. So that would be the footbridge. We're not going to do that yet because I don't think we can. But we want to focus on the botanical garden and complete whatever we have to do in the garden. So the CEO of Labasa Town Council and the essays, they are working on the terms of reference, and there are a number of steps involved. Like we have to get the surveyor in to see the levels, etc. We have to get the landscaping engineer in to guide us on that, and then the water feature, the flow, the gravity, where the weirs should be, etc., etc. So we want to just complete the technical part of the work. Once the technical part of the work is done, again we will be calling in Shiri, who is our horticulturalist from Lautoka, and he'll be the one who will be guiding us in developing the park, because he's got a lot of knowledge. He's worked in a number of hotels in Western Division before he took up the job with Lautoka City Council. That way we'll be able to save cost as well, right? And we will be getting he's got a lot of knowledge in terms of plants. So he has to come down and do the species countings, which type of plants are there, what more plants can come in that suits Labasa environment and so forth. So that would be our next project. Now, besides that, then our third project is the fish market. We realize the current fish market, it was a temporary fish market. It was never a permanent fish market. If you look at Labasa market, fish market, bus stand, it's totally congested. There's no room for expansion. There's no way we can expand. We need much bigger space to really build a market. We are getting lots of application from people who want a space in the fish market, they want a space in the municipal market, and you have seen the congestion. People are spilling out on the street now, and they're selling on the street. Consumers don't have a parking spot because there is no place to park. During the day, we had meetings with the taxi operators and so forth. They also want loading and unloading bay, but it's not possible to provide one with the current space. So our intention is to capture what Labasa does best and what it has been doing all this while, which is basically supplying 80% of seafood to other parts of Fiji. Also exporting seafood from here to overseas. That is your strength. So we want to work with, in fact, we want to build our fish market. We've got 3-acre land in Nayada. We already have it, which is next to the riverside. So we want to develop this biggest fish or seafood center for Labasa. Very well planned, thought out, consultation with the fish vendors and so forth. And with that, we also intend to have seafood restaurants, which we can rent it out, as well as the SME market, small businesses that can operate from there. So that is our third project. Then the fourth project, which is not immediately on the table, you may have heard that Labasa Town Council has acquired 20 acres of land in Nayada to shift this market to the other side. Right? So that, once we do that, that will really free up the current space, which has not been well utilized, and a lot more commercial activities can be done on that piece of land. So for the market, no major work has begun, but we are in the process of getting the lease. Approval has been given, but we have to do a survey. And once the survey is complete, then of course we have to submit everything to Ministry of Land before they give us the title. So these are our 4 projects that we intend to start for Labasa. And I believe once we start off with this project, because town and cities, they grow, they're not static. Population grows. And we have to look at the direction in which you want the town and cities to grow. And obviously the best choice is where your river is or water environment is, because then you can capture the aesthetic appeal of that place. So taking all those views into consideration, and we also hired, this is before I came in, there was a consultant engaged, and the consultant looked at the various options. And after looking at the various options, they came up with Nayada as the best spot for the market. Right, so I just wanted to share some of these things with you. And I will ask the chair or the SA team, if you want to add anything, you may do so. Otherwise, I will open the floor, and I want to hear from you. It's okay? Okay, so the floor is open, and you may introduce yourself. You may introduce yourself, because I really want to know you, and then you can share your views.
We have been harping on this with the they can difference. There is no humanity. That I will take and show you.
Thank you. And good on the fire. There is no further space for anywhere in that left.
Okay, there are a series of questions which I had dropped and some solutions. My observations and my solutions as well. The first one I had the problem I wish to bring up is this valuation of residential properties.
Yes.
Madam Minister, some 4 years ago, when Mr. Pradip was a minister, he came to Labasa and they did some surveys, they did some studies, and they imposed a 5 to 37% increase on the rate rates of Labasa. This was after The consultation was not done in my side, because I was not aware. And this rates going up by 37% was a competition for peace, commercial properties, and they say that it was dependent on the UCP. But the Minister of Labasa town, most of the Labasa town is a flood prone area. We had two floods, one in 2003, one in 2005-6, when Labasa town was virtually it was devastated. 4 feet, 5 feet water into the homes. And people living in broken tail, their home really, got submerged into the flood. That was the situation. I cannot understand why the town and country planning director did not get an independent bill. I mean, this was a government window that he perhaps, and he did the evaluation by not going to the properties, by going to the road, the vehicle, and they put their price. So this UCP value will be this. So people have ended up paying up to 5 to 37%. That's a very good chance. Okay. The other thing, this I want to give here because if I go further, I will give you this example. Okay. Labasa Town Council is charging 11% compound interest. Compound interest. Nowhere I have come across where this kind of interest is charged. Banks charge interest on reducing balance. 11% in compound interest, there is 200.
Can I comment on that? Compound interest is in the Local Government Act, and I intend to change that by next year.
Thank you.
Right, so that, I look at it from consumer perspective. Compound interest is not the way to go. It has to be a simple interest.
Yes.
So we'll get that sorted.
Okay.
I think the projects which you have mentioned to beautify our Labasa town and sectors, I think they are really good. And thank you for that. But I just want to highlight a few things. Like shifting of market. I've been asked by some of our business communities, which they have already invested millions of dollars on their properties to develop Labasa town on this side. If, please do listen to me, if the market sits on the other side, as you have mentioned that Nassau is the biggest market. Yes, I agree. But population is a big population. 40 to 40,000 people there in the sea. It's our people. But in Labasa, our population is not increasing, but it's decreasing. And if we have a division to develop that area, okay, that's fair. But if the market and the bus stop goes on the other side, definitely the people will be just on that side. I will give you one example in Labasa, since this challenge, the mall has been done, the food court, first food court, bigger food court in Labasa. Now, people, that's the only ample people, they all are going to the food court, no matter what condition the food is. All the restaurants are struggling. And for information, if this market is shifted on the other side, with all other facilities, definitely everybody can imagine what will happen to this side. Because our people, we know. We are here, we do business, we know their mindset. They just stick to one side. And because the population is very small. If we had a bigger population, definitely there will be no problem at all. So we'll be sharing that side and this side.
Video
job today, and I think it's going to be really good for you. In a nice, friendly way, and try to resolve as much as you can.
Take this forward and get this done.
Once again for being here this evening and for sharing your ideas. I truly appreciate that. We've made note of some of the things that you have mentioned, and we'll take it from here. Finally, I want to say that, sometimes we expect a lot to be done, right? But the reality is we can only do things based on our budget. Some of you are businessmen, this is the money you have and how you're going to spend that money. Last budget was $3.6 billion. $3.6 billion, when you compare it with New Zealand and Australia, their budget is beyond our imagination, right? Auckland Council's budget is like over 40 billion and 50 billion. Forget about the national budget. So ours is only 3.6 billion. And with that, we're trying to do whatever we can, right? So I hope you will understand the real scenario and appreciate whatever we are trying to deliver in the toughest economic condition. So with these words, thank you very much, and you have a good evening, and we shall meet again, and we shall meet after December. Thank you.